we know well that Shruti, that is the Veda is very important in our life, in a Hindu's life, no? Because it teaches us the way of life, how to pronounce mantras, what mantras to be done, the explanation, the significance behind. No? So they are very important. It's surtout they have been given directly by God to the sages. Okay. There is no author as such of the Veda. So the Vedas hold a very great place, very significant place in our life. But est-ce que ban Smriti text, are the Smriti texts given the same importance? Okay, are they equally important or not? You may get a question like this for the exams, right? Peut-être leaving une question 10 points or 15 points, it may be, right? So you should be prepared for that, where to explain the the role, the importance of the Smriti text, right? Si nous get bien in the Hindu society today, no doubt many people give value to the Vedas. They give value to the Vedas. They practice the Vedas. They read the Vedas. Okay. But bien minimum, if you take the whole population of the Hindu, or those who follow Hinduism, right? So le very minimum one person qui read the Vedas or they follow the Vedas. Reasons can be many, okay, why we don't do that. We don't read and follow the Vedas. It can be because of the language issue, because it is purely in Sanskrit, right? No one taught us that also, no? Even if we have been taught very little things, pas même 1% nous connaît from the Vedas, right? So there are some issues somewhere, some problems somewhere that we have not been taught the Vedas properly, ou bien nous-mêmes nous pas and whatever the reason, right? So then what happened? Instead of giving that due importance to the Vedas, people started giving that importance to the Smriti text. That is, you can take the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Puran, ou bien même the Manusmriti, right? So now, in this Kali Yuga, even in the Treta, in the Dwapar Yuga, and even now in Kali Yuga, Smriti texts have approached the people. No? Smriti texts, they are more important, maybe you can say in a way, than the Veda, pour certain demons. Most of us, I will say my point of view is most of us, right? If we see the society, those who follow Hinduism, if you ask someone questions about Ramayana or Mahabharata, they might be able to tell you the answer easily, no? But if you ask the person dans verse, dans Rigved, dans tel verse, dans tel chapter, qui n'écrit, là, there will be difficulty. Some people know that. Those who have read the Vedas, they know. The priest, they know. They have read the Vedas. The priest uses the Veda to do their work, to do the prayers, whatever. Donc, Ramayana and Mahabharata have become more popular. Comment ils been more popular now? Okay. So when I'm talking about Ramayana, remember Ramayana was written by Valmiki. Ramayana was written by Valmiki. After Valmiki, You have Tulsidas, who wrote the Ramcharitmanas. Okay, but here we are talking about Ramayana. Of course, this story is more or less the same in Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas. More or less, I'll say the same. There are certain differences. Dans Maurice, we have a tradition of Ramayana chanting. Ramayana chanting, beaucoup place nous aller faire Ramayana chanting, very nice, very good. This is a way to to revive the culture, to keep the culture alive, and the scripture also, right? But the thing is, we don't recite Ramayana. Nous appelons Ramayana chanting, but we don't recite Ramayana. In fact, we recite Ramcharitmanas. We read Ramcharitmanas. So the difference should be very clear here. It should be very clear. Okay. Ramayana, we have people who use that, who read that. Ramayana is in Sanskrit by Valmiki. Ramcharitmanas is in Awadhi language. Awadhi vient un petit peu pareil comme Hindi. Vous trouvez bien près avec Hindi. It is in Awadhi language. Why was Ramcharitmanas written in Awadhi language? Because people were not understanding the Ramayana. The language became difficult, was difficult. People could not read that. So, nous disons Amen Ramayana towards the mass, towards people. People should be able to get access to the Ramayana. But if the language is difficult, nous pas apprendre Sanskrit as such, even at that time, I'm telling you, where we had uneducated, illiterate people in the society in India. So it was important to bring that Ramayana to propagate those teachings in the words, in the language of the people. So then Tulsidas wrote the Ramcharitmanas. Maintenant, nous payons seulement Ramcharitmanas of Tulsidas. We have many, many Ramayans, ou bien Ramcharitmanas, in many languages, written by many poets. But Ramayana by Valmiki and Ramcharitmanas by Tulsidas, these two, they got the, maybe I can say, the highest honor compared to others, right? C'est pas que I'm saying the other Ramayana dans les Indian languages which existed pena value non zetina for their people, for those people who speak the language. But these two, actually, they are more popular than the other, right? So the language is the main reason how the Ramcharitmanas became very popular, and it still is very popular. But here we are referring to the Ramayana. Okay, couldn't be a difference. No doubt it's both the story of Ram with certain differences. What is the main difference? When Valmiki wrote Ramayana, he wanted to write about someone, a hero, maybe you can say about someone who can present himself as a hero or be an ideal man. And he found that in Ram, and of course Ramayana was written. Mais Tulsidas, comment il présente Ram? He presented Ram as the ideal person, yes, but also as God, as avatar or incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Ça aspect-là missing dans Ramayana of Valmiki. Of course, Valmiki talked plutôt about Ram, the God. Mais his aim was not to show people that Ram is God. No. His aim was to present an ideal person in the society whom we can follow. Right? Et Tulsidas lit sur l'emphase, il vient plutôt sur on the God aspect of Ram. okay, which also includes how to live life as an ideal person. Okay. The Bansetan Ramayana, in other languages, Sita is the hero, or you call that heroine, of the epic. Et là, même dans certains Ramayana, Sita was the one who killed Ravan. Okay. But normalement, we follow the Ramayana of Valmiki or that Ramcharitmanas of Tulsidas. Okay. So make this clear as their Ramayana. So if we talk about these two epics, they are popular worldwide, right? Everyone know that. And there is the chanting of of the mantras, of the verses of the Ramayana, also of Mahabharata. Mais Mahabharata bien peu, but to be noted that Bhagavad Gita is also part of the Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita is part de Mahabharata, where Krishna gave the message to Arjun. No? So Bhagavad Gita chanting is popular today. C'est plutôt c'est qui Krishna consciousness, ou bien on appelle ça ISKCON, ou bien Vaishnav. They propagated the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Yes, Bhagavad Gita is written in Sanskrit, but Bhagavad Gita has many, I can't tell you the number, but in many, translated in many languages, even in Western languages as well. Okay. So the translation of Bhagavad Gita, the fair Bhagavad Gita will accessible to people easier, you know. People can read, people can understand. That is the main problem in this Hindu religion. My point of view is, this is how I see it. The main problem in our religion is we do not get access to the scriptures. Okay. We have not been brought up in our Mauritian context, the Hindus, we have not been brought up in such an environment or context where we read the Vedas. We make that a daily activity. No, we don't do that. We hardly do that. Certain might be doing it. Certain priest, the priesthood class, the Veda, no doubt. But les autres, the common people, the mass, pas get access to that. Okay. And it's also about, our Mauritian, in the Mauritian context, we might be Hindus, Muslim, Christians, ou bien any other religion. Nous toujours an influence of other cultures dans nous. No? This is what actually makes us Mauritian. This is what makes us Mauritian. So our case can be different as well, but it's up to us to learn the scriptures, to read, right? Now, scriptures, what is their work? Because scripture, ici, on peut seulement Smriti là. Smriti, that is the Ramayana, the Mahabharata. Of course, they teach us how to live a life. If you take the example of Ram, for example, okay, leading a successful life, meaningful life, how to have moral inclinations, live a moral life. No, that is important today. Especially today in Kali Yuga, we are living in Kali Yuga. Morality is very important, right? But for some people, no doubt, epics leave no strong impression. For some, scriptures might not be important for them. Epics might not be important for them. But they are atheist. That can be one reason they are atheist. Or they don't believe in Ramayana and Mahabharata. scriptures like this, but they believe in the Veda. No? If you take the Arya Samajist, they follow the Veda. Okay, they follow the Ved. This is the only scripture they follow. So they might not be following the Ramayana or the Ramcharitmanas or Bhagavad Gita or whatever. Okay, so reason can be different. But the thing is, I'm following Shruti, that is Ved, or Smriti, Ramayana, Mahabharata. For moi, that is not an issue. C'est pas que I should tell someone ou peut lire Ramayana, ou pas besoin lire Ramayana, nous besoin lire Ved, parce que Ved has been given by God. Ved is our original scripture, which is true, yeah. But li pas important. See, the person thinks that reading the Ramayana or the Mahabharata makes him feel good, makes him become walk on the path of morality, on the path of dharma, so be it. No. Why to change someone? If anyone say influence the person, you should not be reading the Ramayana, but you should read the Veda. Right? It's up to us. Sisa Hinduism, the vast religion, like the big umbrella which embraces everyone. In N plus too. You can't read the Ved, you can read the Ramcharitmanas. Or with the Ramayana, the Ramcharitmanas, the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, the Puran, comes a summarized way, a summary of the Veda. Salaviki Ram in Viva as the ideal son, the ideal husband, protecting people, being a very good king, etc., etc. Mais ça même écrit dans Veda. Comment nous devons habiller an ideal man, ideal husband, ideal king, qui nous devons faire. Everything is there. Mais là-bas in the Veda, it's like instructions have been given through the mantras. But here in the Ramayana or in the Ramcharitmanas, les Mukumajari nous montreront un film, les diront que an ideal person should be like Ram. An ideal woman should be like Sita. It's easier to grasp, it's easier to understand for people. People can understand easily, right? So, les paraît, comment dire, in any verse, dire que, we have water from different river flowing to the sea. So it's not important qu'il la rivière plus grand, qu'il la rivière plus petit. That is not important. Parce que they are all going to merge in the sea. So we read the Veda, we practice the Veda, we read and practice the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita. It's the same thing. The person is free to choose which path he or she wants to opt, right? So let's see a bit the Ramayana. This one you can underline pour living and singing facile pour vous êtes capable go through the underlined things. Okay. And this thing, probably the role of media in it. You have serials about Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita, about the Mahabharata, which gives a helping hand, to the culture, to people, to religion. So you should know about the story of Ramayana. I believe you know that, but we just go through it. If you take the meaning of Ramayana, okay, say, ou bien même the word Ramcharitmanas, it is the story of Ram, right? The story of Ram, where Ram is considered the hero, and he is known as the Maryada Purushottam. Maryada Purushottam means the one who has always kept or observed the moral standard. Okay, he did not cross his line. So it is a holy scripture translated in several languages, and it has been read and reread even, quand nous avons grands-parents surtout, they used to, ou bien they narrate stories related to Ramayana. We have that also. So let's keep this alive in children today. This is one way of doing it. Ramayana helps us to discern and find solutions to problems. Whatever problem we have, if we read the Ramayana, we'll get solutions to that. It might be problem of suffering, frustration, failure, whatever. La même chose nous dit for Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So if someone really follow Ramayana, another one follow Bhagavad Gita, fine. As I told you, second in us to own way, right? Valmiki Ramayana consists of 24,000 verses divided in 7 chapters, right? In the first chapter, which is known as Balkand, Bal Vidya, enfance, childhood, where there is the childhood and when Ram is as a youth, he's depicted there. The inhabitants of the city were educated. Point to be noted, at that time in Treta Yuga, when there was King Dashrath there, people were educated. They were well versed in scriptures. They knew the scriptures, right? C'est bien sûr, avec les temps, things deteriorated. Now, King Dashrath, who was the king at that time, leads in a trois madame. King Dashrath, the first wife was Kaushalya and Kaikeyi, and then Sumitra, right? But they had no children. Then they did the Putreshti Yagya. Putreshti Yagya say a yagya to have children, to have a son. And eventually, later, after the yagya, they got children. There were 4 sons, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. Right? They were the 4 brothers. And the 4 brothers were living in peace and harmony. Point, very important point, how to live within the family. Among siblings, de nos jours, quand nous get siblings, they are fighting. Qui faisait pas fight? Maybe because of money or property, no? But là-bas, in Ramayana, I guess you know that well, que Ram renounced the kingdom, namely Panvin les rois, just à cause to make Bharat the king. So he sacrificed himself, he sacrificed his comfort. Ça, c'est un point bien important where you should, which you should be writing in your work, right? How the society was and how is the modern society and what are the things we need to apply today in our society. One is this, living in a family. Peut-être de nos jours, nous, modern people will say that it's not easy thing to live in a huge family, but previously people were living. Yes, there will be problem. It was a huge family there. And Kaikeyi, their first garçon Bharat bin les rois. Ram had to go to the forest. So, quelque part, Kaikeyi was responsible. And even dans la famille, peut-être, yes, il peut créer problem. Right? But we should find ways to live in harmony. No, we can't disown people. We can't disown the members, right? And Ram and Lakshman, they had been in the forest. They killed many demons, right? They protected fire sacrifices where people were doing fire sacrifices. They protected. Sage Vishwamitra told Ram how to handle divine weapons. Vishwamitra was one of their gurus. Ram in the forest, while protecting the sages, he killed Taraka and Subahu, who were very powerful demons. And later on, quand Sita kidnapped Tusala, he killed Marich. the deer, the golden deer, which he killed, c'était marriage. And then he got married to Sita, you know that, the Swayamvar of Sita. The one who would lift the bow of Shiv would marry Sita. And only Ram could do that, to lift the bow of Shiv. And then they got married. So this is in the first chapter, the Balkand, right? And then in Ayodhya Kand, which is the second chapter, where Dashrath decided to retire and to make Ram the king. Here, Kaikeyi asked her two boons. What were the two boons? To make Bharat the king, Sugason Kaikeyi, Sugason Bharat, the king of Ayodhya, and to send Ram in the forest for 14 years. Ram, very obedient, he accepted, he went. Again, point to be noted here, how a child, a son must be, right? And Sita accompanied Ram, Lakshman also accompanied Ram, right? And because of that separation from Ram, Dashrath died after approximately 6 days when he left. Ram left, Dashrath died. So when Bharat returned to Ayodhya, il est parti là quand tout ça a déroulé, he came to know that he had to become the king, which he rejected. Bharat pan accepted to become the king. In fact, killing fair, he took everyone he went to meet Ram in the forest at Chitrakoot to convince Ram to return. But Ram knew that son papa has promised Kaikeyi something, so he has the duty to fulfill that promise of the father. So Ram did not return to Ayodhya. Par contre, Bharat il reste là-bas in Ayodhya. He ruled, but he did not sit on the throne. Sa throne là, it's égal ça pour Ram. Okay. And then you have Aranyakand, where you have Ram visiting many sages in the forest, killing demons. And there is the story of the Surpanakha, who was the sister of Ravan, Nitom, the Aranyakand itself. Ravan asked his uncle marriage, to take the form of the golden deer to go there. And then that was the plan, how to kidnap Sita actually, right? How to kidnap Sita. And of course, Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, where Jatayu, the bird Jatayu, helped to rescue Sita, but it could not. And Ram met Jatayu very much wounded, and he did his funeral. On the way, Ram met Shabri when he was looking for Sita. He met Shabri, right? And then in the 4th chapter, he met Sugriv, he met Hanuman, right? Lausili killed demons, Nin killed Bali, the brother of Sugriv. And then the meeting of Hanuman, how Hanuman flew to Lanka to meet Sita, to see how Sita is. And then you have the Sundarkand, the 5th chapter, where Hanuman, it begins with Hanuman crossing the ocean. He went there in Lanka, how he investigated. He met Vibhishan. The Lanka still plus its Petan Ram Sunu. Vibhishan was taking the name of Ram. Okay. Then he met Sita in the Ashok Vatika, in the Ashok Grove. And aussi, as we know, he put fire to Lanka. Avec so tail, he did that. And he returned to tell Ram about how Sita was, in what condition, situation she was. And then you have the 6th chapter of Ramayana, say, described in the Yudh Kand, Kudbana Lagya, there was the fight, the war, and also the praises of the Sanjeevni. Lakshman was wounded. We needed the Sanjeevni to protect Lakshman and other, right? So Hanuman lelamem kili lev sati kolina to bring the Sanjeevni. right? Then there is the coming of Kumkarna. Kumkarna, ça nous dit que 6 mois il mangeait, 6 mois il dormait, approx, yeah. 6 mois mangeait, 6 mois dormait, and it's very difficult to wake him up. But they had to wake him up to help in war, right? So there was the war going on between Ram and Ravan, and no doubt, say Ravan is depicted as the demon, So he was defeated by Ram. And then Ram returned to Ayodhya, where he lived as the king. He ruled there, and he established the Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya Vidya, the ideal form of governance, the ideal state, the ideal country, you can say. Perfect governance. And then you have the 7th and the last chapter, which is the Uttarkand, where Ram sent Sita again to the forest. Okay, again to the forest. And she was pregnant at that time. She had 2 sons, Love and Kush. And here you have the story, the struggle of Sita. And then how at the end Sita returned to Ayodhya, but she did not accept to be the queen of Ayodhya or to be reintegrated in the family. Elle a même coûté les dans la terre parce que that was from where she came, from the earth. Non, dans la terre. So this is a bit a summary, very much summarized Ramayana Manjazutla.